Welcome to this week's episode of New Yorkers Know. The Upper East Side is known for so many things, including museums, culture, restaurants, and a great community. I'm real estate broker David.Rosen, and today we're going to go all around the Upper East Side. Our first stop today is East 92nd Street and Lexington Avenue. We're gonna stop in at a place called the 92nd Street Y. Its full name is the 92nd Street Young Men and Women's Hebrew Association. It was originally founded 145 years ago, and they've been in this building since 1930. They've got 2 gyms, a 25-yard lap pool, a 917-person theater. They offer classes in everything. I'm talking script writing, dance, jewelry, music, marketing, cooking, from karate to knishes. It's all at the 92nd Street Y. The 92nd Street Y hosts scores of events. In fact, they probably have 2 to 3 a week, if not more. Anyone who's anyone in the New York City intelligentsia, and I'm not just talking about from the Jewish community, every New Yorker has been invited to be on stage in some capacity at the 92nd Street Y. People from Tennessee Williams, Maya Angelou, Arthur Miller, James Baldwin. It's a cultural hub for anyone who wants to broaden their horizons. And most of their events can be streamed live, online, on their YouTube channel. Now for today's first trivia question. In 1974, they held a recital with what then 19-year-old child prodigy who was born in Paris and raised here in New York. New Yorkers know whom I'm referring to. Stay tuned to the end for all of today's trivia answers. For our next stop today, we're going to go to one of the densest cultural centers in the world, Museum Mile. Museum Mile is between 82nd Street and 109, and it's actually 3 blocks longer than a mile. Museum Mile includes 9 museums. Starting uptown and going south, you've got the Africa Center, El Museo del Barrio, Museum of the City of New York, the Jewish Museum, Cooper Hewitt Smithsonian Design Museum, National Academy Museum, Solomon R. Guggenheim Museum, New Gallery New York, and of course, we have the biggest of them all, the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The first museum built on Museum Mile was the Met back in 1870, and the most recent to open its doors was the Africa Center in 2012. New Yorkers know that there's even a Museum Mile Festival. It's held the second Tuesday in June, and I can't wait for it this year. It was first held in 1979, and it was founded by Lisa Taylor to raise awareness about all the cultural centers on Museum Mile. Fifth Avenue closes off the street to street traffic. There are street performers and tons of activities in the streets, and each of the 9 museums is open for free. So the Met is big. I mean really, really big. Do you know it's the largest art museum in the entire USA? Now, for today's next trivia question, New Yorkers know how many individual pieces of art are housed in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I don't need decimal points here. You can round up to the nearest whole. Stay tuned to the end for the answer. All right, after a full day of looking at these museums, you are hungry. Well, I'm hungry. So we're gonna go to one of my favorite stops, the Lexington Candy Shop. This place has been here for a long time. In fact, this is the 96th year. Just a few blocks from the Met over on Lexington and 83rd. It's the oldest family-run luncheonette in New York City. Opened in 1925. This area used to be filled with corner dinettes like this, but now this is one of the few ones left. And none like this one. The owners feel it's a part of the living history of the city. First opened as just a soda and candy store, they've kept the exterior until this day. The kitchen opened in the 40s with the installation of a Hamilton Beach milkshake maker, and they still have the same milkshake maker to this day. It's a do-anything American-style cuisine. You got your burgers, grilled cheese, tuna melt, coffee, milkshake. You can't go wrong. The staff has very little turnover. The last time they hired someone new was 11 years ago, and they still have tons of regulars. Even on a cold day, sometimes people like to sit outside. It's a real family place in the heart of one of the biggest tourist destinations in the world. Okay, last trivia question. Luncheonettes and diners have been serving egg creams since the 1800s. New Yorkers know what are the 3 ingredients in an egg cream. Our first trivia question was about a special concert held at the 92nd Street Y. This child prodigy had already performed at the age of 7 at the White House, and at the age of 19, he wowed the community and the world here at the 92nd Street Y. He may have been born in Paris, but New Yorkers know I'm talking about the world-renowned cellist Yo-Yo Ma. Next, I asked you, how many pieces of art are there in the Met? Well, I'll take your answer and I'll round it to the nearest million. That's right, the Metropolitan Museum of Art houses 2 million pieces of art. That should impress even the most cynical New Yorker. It probably won't, but it should. For our last trivia question, I asked you, what's in an egg cream? Now, some people think there's egg and there's cream, but there's neither. There's only 3 ingredients. You bet's chocolate syrup, milk, seltzer. What a day, folks. Thanks again for joining me all over the Upper East Side. I'm real estate broker David.Rosen, and I'll see you next time here on New Yorkers Know.